Hey everybody, welcome back to Landshark's Garage. Well, we finally got Mrs. Landshark 68 in here after that little Tahoe fiasco project that we had. We're going to take this 350 out. If you've been following along, we were at a car show, developed a miss on the way home, ended up having to drive it the full 2 hours home with a miss. When we got into the valve train of the engine, it looked like we dropped a lifter on number 3 cylinder. So instead of just tearing it apart and seeing if we can fix it and seeing what's going on there, for us it'll be easier to just take this 350 out. We've got a 400 small block that is ready to go. The only thing I need to do on this is change the oil pan gasket. We had a leak right in here after we got the motor all broke in and ran it a little bit. It was leaking pretty bad in the front seal, and the gaskets on small block Chevy, some were thick and some were thin. What I'm thinking happened is I put the thin one in instead of the thick one and didn't notice it while I was building the motor, so I'm going to put a thick gasket in there. Change some stuff over. We're going to paint this motor the same color as the old motor in Mrs. Landshark 68 is. So thanks for watching, subscribing and following our channel. We really appreciate it. We're going to tackle this one, see if we can get it in, get it out, so that we can bring in our project for the winter, which is going to be the 80 Camaro that we bought from Mortsky Repair. And we're going to work on that this winter, so we have a little bit more room in the garage here. Without, not having the 3+3 in here, having the Camaro in here, we'll be able to get a lot more done while we can still work on the box sides of the pickup while we're in here too. One thing we're going to address on here is this alternator situation's never been good on this. It just doesn't line up right. So we might have to spend some time working on that and getting a bracket that we like. Here we go. We're going to start taking things off. I drained this a couple days ago. Jake's in here helping. The only dog that likes me anymore, I think. Everybody else likes to stay in the house because it's cold. These chrome fan shrouds, they look nice on there, but my God, are they sharp. So that 400 that's sitting over there, like I said, it's all broke in, ready to go. Distributors on it, I shouldn't have to mess around timing or anything. Broke in, we had it in the 49 for a while, and then just like with this, we actually had an obligation with the 49, so it was quicker to swap that motor out in the 49 and put the 350 that's in it still than it was to try and address the leaking oil pan. That had some transmission issues too. Big difference between doing that motor on the Tahoe and this small block is I've probably done 50 of these small blocks. Handiest wrench I've found, if you don't mind doing things with hand tools, it's this 1/2 by 9/16 box end wrench. Kind of covers 90% of the fasteners you're going to deal with on this thing. A couple 1/4 inch and 3 5/16 nut driver. Handles most of your hose issues. This little hose puller tool, you can get underneath the hose and work around it. Handy. The biggest problem I had with that Tahoe is I'd never taken one of them apart. I didn't know all the tricks and stuff that you needed to, the tools that help you do things like that, I guess is what I should say, not tricks. You guys have probably been watching thinking, how long is it going to be before he switches to something cordless? Alright, we got that out. Give us some room to work. Kind of had a little come apart there. She really liked them pretty wet wires. We'll probably have to get her set. Oh, another one fell apart. Another one. Sometimes you got to break out the in-between wrench, I guess. Somewhere in between 7/16 and 3/8 on the oil pressure line. So we're going to order a whole new pulley setup for this to put on that motor. We're going to leave this one with this motor. Here's the reason. This has got a short water pump on it. You can usually tell it's a short water pump because it sits right up against the timing cover. There's not a lot of space there, and down here in the water pump it's a lot wider than, say, this long one when you look at it. Okay? The long ones are on the newer stuff, short ones were on older motors, but you can see the gap behind here? That's how you can tell the difference between a short water pump and a long water pump. This is a long water pump. We're going to leave it on there. It's a short water pump. Pulleys are different. Your offsets are different. And that's probably the reason that we're having problems with this alternator, is because some of these brackets are, alternator brackets are made for shorts. Some are made for longs. This is a cobbled together mess by yours truly. So we're going to fix that. We ordered new upper and lower pulley, new pulley for the power steering pump, new pulley that might go on the alternator. I think there was a new end, I don't know, there was a lot of stuff in it just because it's all shiny, but Mrs. Landshark likes that shiny stuff. It'll go with her valve covers and stuff that she's got on here, so not a big deal. We'll just leave this short water pump and the pulleys with this engine, because this engine is probably going to be the one that goes into the 80 Camaro that we picked up from Morski Repair, and that's this winter's project too. So basically got most of the top end stuff taken care of. I'm going to take the valve covers off so we don't ding them up when we're pulling it out. I'll leave the distributor in it just because there's no reason for it, but that one's already got the distributor in it and it's timed, so I don't have to worry about it. That one's going to go back in with the distributor. This one, I got to take this all apart anyway, but I'm not going to mess around taking the distributor out of it today. There's no benefit to it. This motor will pop up, come forward, and come right out, allegedly. But I'll get the rest of the stuff off the front, get her up, get everything loosened up on the bottom side. Torque converter, 6 transmission bolts. My exhaust I'm just going to drop off to the side so I can pull out of there, take out the motor mounts, maybe get it taken out yet today. I'm taking my time on it, taking pictures as I take it apart in case I have to put anything back together. I think I might have to get a new bracket for the power steering pump because it looks like that one's made for the short water pump, and I'm going to need the long water pump bracket, so I might as well get one of them ordered. Transfer a few things to that motor. That's what I just did back here. The spring retainer that I had at the back of the carburetor on the intake, I transferred it to that motor already because it was made for this. Worked real good, so we're going to leave it like that. So we'll just keep on keeping on. There's that reason for all the fuss right there. What is it, Jake? Huh? Oh. Kill him, Jake. He's from North Dakota. Kill him.
Pee on him.
What are you doing, Duffer?
Oh, look. You got a Put in Stab Shop wannabe over here.
Hey, kids. How's it going?
Just Don't jump on that pickup.
Dad, they're just love them. Yeah, don't jump on that pickup. All right, well, we'll get back to this. Had to take a little break, spend some time chatting with Mortsky and Duff. Kind of fun when they stop by. Jake gets someone to mess around with. I think Jake found out that Duff's not quite as tolerant as his brother Dexter is. But they played for a while. Mortsky and I chatted about life. We'll get back after it. A good way to spend Halloween. Mortsky is making fun of my alternator setup here. I told him that was going to be going by the wayside. Must have been down here. He had a GM vehicle on the back of his trailer, that's all I'll say. Imagine he'll see if he can get that bad boy running. Well, that takes care of all that. Top end's good. All I gotta do is take the exhaust manifold bolts off, drop them off to the side, and we'll work on getting underneath it and seeing what's going on there. Halloween though, trick-or-treating time. Might go in and mess around with them kids for a while instead. We're gonna do some stuff on the bottom today, finish a few things on the top. This is set up nice so you can get at the transmission bolts from the top. So I'll loosen them up. Get underneath, take the starter off, torque converter bolts, balance of the transmission bolts. We'll be able to take the motor mount bolts out, lift her up out of there. We can start doing what we're doing. I don't find vehicles like this anymore that leave this much room for stuff. Yeah, I ran a little low on battery there. I did get them last two top transmission bolts out. They take a 9/16 wrench. Usually you don't have the clearance on the firewall to be able to get them all from the top, so that worked out pretty slick. We're going to jack this up, get underneath it, take the 3 torque converter bolts out, drop the starter down, then we should be done with the bottom side. Not as many complicated things as like there was on that Tahoe when we did it. Mortsky and Duff stopped by yesterday and he was making fun of my surgical tool layout, how I keep them on a blanket and how nice that looks. And then I watch his video today and he's keeping track of how many times he's got to run to his toolbox trying to remember what tool you need for each thing. So hopefully this is all I'm going to need on the bottom side. Nothing worse for a fat guy that's getting old than having to get out from underneath the truck to get more tools to do something. Small block Chevy, pretty easy to figure out. You can do just about everything with 3 or 4 wrenches. And I found afterwards in that 5.3 it was about the same way. There was a certain amount of wrenches you needed. Sometimes you needed some specialty ones just because of space things, but mostly it was 8, 10, 13, 15, and 18. That was about it. Seems like you could take a whole truck apart with that. Alright, so we're gonna cruise on under the old 68. You can see I got my jack stands in place. I always leave a jack, the floor jack, under something too, as a fail-safe. I had a car fall on me one time in this garage, and it was a very uncomfortable feeling. I was able to get out from underneath it. I always make sure I have my phone when I'm under vehicles too, because of the same reason. If a jack stand fails, which they have done in the past, and it falls on you, that's all there is, folks. And if you're in a garage all by yourself, at least you might be able to call help. So we're going to take the starter off, torque converter bolts, 2 lower transmission bolts, and we should be done down here. I don't know if I can set the camera up to let you see how this all works. This is the thing with lowering vehicles. It gets tight underneath here. Just tried to put a socket on the end of my GoPro, so that's a sign it's too early in the morning for this. What a clever invention that would be though, huh? Should have brought a strap down for that. Oh, dang it. So I got a bolt here I got to remove, bolt here, and then the torque converter bolts, which are right here. And I'm going to have to turn the torque converter to do that. I can get on 2 of them right here. Torque converter bolts go right in there into a threaded pad on the torque converter. So open torque converter like this on a turbo 350, a lot easier to change than the one in that 4L60 was. Well, you're not a ton of help. What? Oh, now you're gonna come underneath here and try and help? Look out, buddy. These Harbor Freight moving blankets, every time they're on sale I buy them. They're so awesome for the dogs to lay on and the fat guy to lay on. I'm going to take the exhaust manifold bolts out and we're going to pull that son of a gun out of there. Well, my hope is I can just take these exhaust manifold bolts out of here and this will just drop over to the side. Wow, with them loose. What the crap. Boy, none of them are more than finger tight. That's not good. Wonder why that is. That's crazy. These ones are going to be that loose. What in the crap? Oh, I've never had that happen. I mean, I've had header bolts loosen up before just because they're crap, but never had exhaust manifold bolts do that. That didn't sound good anyway. in addition to retrieving my lost spark plug, I was able to get the transmission jack in place. So that when we start pulling it, the transmission's got some support. Get close now, Jake. So the motor mounts on these 67 to 72 Chevy pickups have a 1 bolt that goes through here. Most small block Chevy motor mounts come through here horizontally. This one, it comes in from the back. It's just 1 5/8 headed bolt. Sometimes it's easy to get onto, sometimes it's not. In the case of this one, I'm gonna have to take the fuel pump out. I need to take it off anyway. That makes it a little easier to see. That bolt is like right there. Kind of a pain in the butt to line up too when you start trying to put the engine back in. Driver's side, same thing. This one doesn't really have any access problems. We're ready to come out. Give it a once over. Well, one thing I did not find with this motor, which is odd with me, is I don't have no ground straps on it. I usually ground it to the frame in a couple spots because chasing ground issues sucks. So we'll get the peepaw picker in here, drag that bad boy out of there so we can get to work getting the 400 ready to go back in. So lowered truck problems we got going on here. Since the lowering kit's in there, can't get the cherry picker to slide underneath the A-arm, so I'm gonna have to jack it up just a little bit, give us some clearance to put the cherry picker underneath there. How many of you were betting I couldn't do this without opening the garage door? Well, I'm not done yet, so. There we are, out and on the ground. A big puddle of antifreeze to clean up, of course. A couple shows ago I said I need a floor dry sponsor. Seems like that's all I do is put floor dry down. So I'm going to move this over by the other engine, swap some things that need to go between the two before we start painting on the 400. Once again, 350 that we're taking out, putting the 400 in so we can go through this 350 and figure out what happened to it on the way home from the car show. This was actually the simpler thing to do than to tear it all apart first and not have it be a simple fix. Hopefully it's a simple fix. If it isn't, we'll get into it when we tear into the motor and find out. As for now, she's out. I'm gonna get it put down on my little makeshift engine dolly there, since my other engine stand is trapped back in that corner and I really can't see a way of getting it out of there because I'd have to move the pickup, and that's not going to happen at this point. So, well, we're going to take the motor mount pads off of this one to transfer over to that 400 thermostat housing and thermostat, fuel pump push rod, and this block off plate have got to go on there because that one doesn't have a push rod in it. It was running electric pump. Once I get that all stripped off of here, I'll put this on that roller, get it off the cherry picker and out of the way until we tear into it, because my feelings are this motor is going into the 80 Camaro of Mortski's. which will be in here shortly. That should be this winter's project, I believe. Like and subscribe. Thanks for following and supporting our channel. We really appreciate it. Never forget, drive your shit. Thanks, everybody.